Imagine being able to get a deep, sun-kissed tan without spending hours at the beach, without lying in a tanning bed, and supposedly without exposing your skin to damaging ultraviolet radiation. That promise sounds almost too good to be true. And according to dermatologists, it may be. A substance nicknamed the Barbie Peptide has been attracting attention on social media, where people are using it in hopes of dramatically darkening their skin. Its actual name is Melanotan II, and unlike a bottle of self-tanner that you rub onto the surface of your skin, Melanotan II is typically injected into the body. The appeal is obvious. Instead of waiting for the sun to darken your skin, Melanotan II essentially attempts to tell pigment-producing cells to get to work. But the same biological mechanism that makes the drug appealing is also one of the reasons dermatologists are concerned. Melanotan II is not simply a cosmetic product. It is an unregulated synthetic peptide capable of interacting with receptors inside the human body, and physicians warn that its long-term consequences remain uncertain. So what exactly is the Barbie peptide? How does it create a tan? And why are some doctors worried that people could be taking potentially serious risks for a cosmetic result? To understand the controversy, it helps to first understand what peptides actually are. Peptides are relatively short chains of amino acids. Within the body, they can behave somewhat like biological messengers, interacting with specific receptors and influencing how cells behave. Researchers and pharmaceutical companies have learned how to develop peptides that target particular biological pathways. That does not automatically make peptides dangerous. In fact, peptide-based medicines have become important treatments for several medical conditions. But the word peptide can sometimes be presented online as though it automatically means something natural, harmless, or beneficial. It does not. The effects of a peptide depend on what receptors it activates, how much is taken, how it is manufactured, and what biological processes it changes. Melanotan II was designed to imitate the effects of a naturally occurring hormone called alpha-melanocyte-stimulating hormone, commonly abbreviated alpha-MSH. That hormone is involved in regulating pigmentation. One of the receptors affected by this pathway is the melanocortin 1 receptor, or MC1R. When alpha-MSH activates this receptor, pigment-producing processes are stimulated. Cells can increase the production of melanosomes containing pigments such as eumelanin and pheomelanin. In simple terms, Melanotan II attempts to imitate part of the body's natural signaling system and encourage the skin to manufacture more pigment. That is why users can become noticeably darker without relying exclusively on ultraviolet light. From a cosmetic perspective, that sounds extremely attractive. But manipulating a biological pathway is different from applying a cosmetic pigment to the outside of your skin. One concern raised by dermatologists is that nobody can confidently say what repeated stimulation of these receptors could mean over many years, particularly when people are obtaining an unregulated product and administering it themselves. The substance is not exactly new. According to dermatologist Michael Christopher, MD, interest in injectable tanning peptides was already appearing within bodybuilding communities before the COVID-19 pandemic. From there, information about Melanotan II spread through online forums and, more recently, social media. Some users have promoted another potentially dangerous idea along with it, the concept of creating a protective base tan. The argument is that if Melanotan II causes the skin to produce more pigment, perhaps that additional pigment will help protect someone from ultraviolet radiation later. Dermatologists say that assumption should not be treated as a license to expose yourself to the sun. Increasing pigmentation does not eliminate the potential damage caused by ultraviolet radiation. And Christopher raised an additional concern. While stimulating pigmentation, Melanotan II may be affecting biological pathways that dermatologists are already watching closely in relation to melanoma. Melanoma is one of the most serious forms of skin cancer. The concern surrounding Melanotan II does not mean that doctors have definitively established that every person who uses it will develop melanoma. The evidence described in the MedPage Today report does not support making that claim. What worries dermatologists is the uncertainty. MC1R is involved in pigmentation, and research involving melanoma has examined activity involving this receptor. Christopher explained that anything capable of activating MC1R makes him cautious about the possibility that it could influence melanoma risk. There have also been reports involving changes in existing moles after exposure to tanning peptides. Some people using these substances have noticed that moles they already had became darker. That does not automatically mean a mole has become cancerous. Pigment changes can be benign. But from a dermatology perspective, a rapidly changing or darkening mole cannot simply be dismissed, particularly when the biological pathway producing the change is being artificially stimulated. The difficulty is that scientists do not yet have the kind of large, controlled, long-term clinical trials that would allow physicians to tell users exactly what years of Melanotan II exposure might do. And cancer is not the only concern. Reports associated with Melanotan use include nausea, flushing, and fatigue. Those effects might sound relatively minor compared with the possibility of melanoma, but some reported complications have been considerably more dramatic. Priapism, which is a prolonged and potentially dangerous erection, has been associated with Melanotan II use. One published case described a 41-year-old man in Scotland who experienced an extremely painful erection lasting approximately 22 hours after injecting melanotan. A prolonged erection lasting that long is not merely embarrassing or uncomfortable. Priapism can be a medical emergency because prolonged disruption of normal blood flow can damage penile tissue. Other reports have connected melanotan with rhabdomyolysis, a condition involving the breakdown of muscle tissue. Renal infarction has also been reported. That occurs when blood supply to part of the kidney becomes blocked, potentially damaging kidney tissue and producing serious complications. These reports do not establish exactly how often such events happen among melanotan users. That is an important distinction. Case reports can identify possible safety signals, but they cannot reliably tell us the percentage of people who will experience a particular complication. And that brings us to one of the biggest problems surrounding Melanotan II. Doctors do not know the full risk profile. When a medication goes through the conventional drug approval process, researchers study its effectiveness, dosing, interactions, manufacturing consistency, and adverse effects. Clinical trials can involve increasingly large groups of patients, allowing scientists to identify both common side effects and some less common complications. With an unregulated injectable substance circulating online, that framework may be absent. That means a person considering Melanotan II may not only be accepting known risks, they may also be accepting risks that medicine has not yet identified. One study referenced in the MedPage Today report looked at 29 people who said they had used Melanotan II. Every participant reported increased tanning, suggesting that the product was accomplishing the cosmetic goal that attracted them to it. But not everyone received the glowing bronze appearance they may have imagined. Some participants described developing a dull gray coloration instead. Nausea, flushing, and fatigue were also reported. Perhaps one of the most striking observations was not simply the side effects themselves, but the user's attitudes toward them. Those adverse effects generally did not stop participants from continuing to use the peptide, and many appeared relatively unconcerned about possible long-term consequences. That finding illustrates one of the challenges physicians face when discussing cosmetic health trends. The benefit is immediate and visible. The risk is distant and uncertain. Someone can look in the mirror within days or weeks and see darker skin. They cannot look in the mirror and see whether a biological change occurring today will increase their risk of disease years later. Social media makes that imbalance even more powerful. A person demonstrating their tan can make a 30-second video showing an apparent result. There is no equally simple video demonstrating a complication that may or may not occur years in the future. The result is an environment in which anecdotal success stories can spread much faster than medical uncertainty. Christopher questioned why, if Melanotan II offered the dramatic health and cosmetic advantages sometimes claimed online, the substance has not successfully emerged as an approved pharmaceutical product despite having existed for years. His point is especially interesting because the pharmaceutical industry is certainly willing to develop peptide medications when evidence shows that they can produce meaningful clinical benefits. GLP-1 receptor agonists are one prominent example. Peptide-related therapies have become major treatments for conditions including type 2 diabetes and obesity. In other words, a substance being a peptide does not somehow place it outside conventional medicine. If a peptide demonstrates an appropriate combination of effectiveness and safety, there is enormous incentive to study it, manufacture it consistently, and develop it as a pharmaceutical treatment. The fact that Melanotan II remains an unregulated product should therefore make consumers skeptical of claims that it represents a secret medical breakthrough being ignored by mainstream healthcare. And Melanotan II is not the only tanning trend worrying dermatologists. Another social media phenomenon, sometimes called Tanmaxxing, encourages people to deliberately tan outdoors during periods when ultraviolet radiation is strongest. Supporters may describe this as a more natural approach to tanning, but natural does not mean harmless. Ultraviolet radiation damages skin. Intentionally exposing yourself to intense UV radiation in order to produce a darker tan can also increase the damage that contributes to skin cancer. Christopher described the process in straightforward terms. People are essentially burning their skin. What becomes particularly concerning is the possibility that someone could combine both behaviors. A person might inject Melanotan II to increase pigmentation and then deliberately seek intense sunlight to deepen the effect further. Instead of replacing UV exposure, the peptide could become part of a tanning routine that includes substantial ultraviolet radiation as well. That would undermine one of the main arguments used to promote the substance in the first place. The larger story here goes beyond tanning. It illustrates how quickly health advice can now move from niche communities to millions of people. Social media influencers can present complex biological interventions in the same format used to recommend clothing, skincare products, or exercise routines. A substance capable of altering cellular signaling can begin to look like just another wellness product. Physicians interviewed for the MedPage Today article express concern about a culture in which some influencers encourage audiences to distrust doctors while portraying unregulated products as healthier alternatives simply because they are described as natural or independent of the pharmaceutical industry. But there is an important difference between skepticism and evidence. Questioning pharmaceutical companies is reasonable. Questioning physicians is reasonable. Medical recommendations should be challenged when evidence supports doing so. But an unregulated injectable does not become safe merely because it exists outside the pharmaceutical system. And an influencer does not become a medical authority simply because their videos are persuasive. For people who simply want the appearance of a tan without ultraviolet exposure, dermatologists have a far less dramatic suggestion: conventional sunless tanning products. These products temporarily change the appearance of the skin rather than requiring someone to inject a peptide that alters internal biological signaling. They may not produce the exact same result, and they can occasionally leave unwanted stains on clothing, but they avoid the known dangers of UV tanning and the unanswered questions surrounding Melanotan II. Ultimately, the Barbie Peptide offers a powerful example of a recurring problem in modern wellness culture. A real biological effect is presented as proof of safety, but those are two completely different things. Melanotan II appears capable of increasing pigmentation. That explains why people use it. What it does not tell us is whether repeatedly manipulating that pathway is safe over the long term. Reports involving darkening moles, nausea, flushing, fatigue, prolonged erections, muscle breakdown, and kidney complications provide reasons for caution. The unanswered questions surrounding melanoma provide an even larger reason for dermatologists to hesitate. A tan may disappear over time. The consequences of manipulating your body's biology may not. So before injecting something because an influencer promises darker skin without the sun, remember that the most important question is not simply, does it work? The better question is, do we actually know what it could do to me? And when it comes to the so-called Barbie Peptide, doctors say there are still far too many unanswered questions. If you found this breakdown useful, subscribe for more evidence-based medical news and explanations of the health trends spreading across social media. And if you see a viral health claim that sounds almost too convenient to be true, tell us about it in the comments. It might be the topic we investigate next.